Gotta get through this quick so I can go to a concert tonight. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, May 13th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. We got a lot of games that are coming out. We got a lot of games that did come out. We've got a Nintendo showcase, so let's jump right in. Starting with the Nintendo showcase, also called the Nindies. I call them the Nindies. I think they've moved away from that title or naming, but I do like the Nindie showcase. So we got 25 minutes of Nintendo indie games that are coming either coming out that day or coming in the next couple months. So pretty exciting stuff to see, and I'm always a little bit more excited for these than I am for Nintendo Directs, and I feel like that still is true for this. There's a couple cool games that caught my eye, but let me know what caught your eye this week. Yeah. So one of the big ones I believe I've talked about before is Soundfall, which is a co-op rhythm-based, like Diablo-like, a looter action RPG, dungeon crawling game. So it is, imagine playing Diablo, but you have to do things on beat, and you can play it with friends. So it looks like a really fun game. I believe that came out as the Nintendo Showcase, so I believe that game's out now. So I might actually convince a couple friends to play through this. And we can talk through that. So for like a friend zone episode or something. Another game that caught my eye was Wild Frost. I'm a big fan of card-based roguelikes, and this one kind of had you develop your deck over time and like level up cards. So it had a pretty cool like RPG mechanic in there as well. So I can always get behind a good card-based game, especially for something like the Switch. So really excited for something like this. Silt was a 2D kind of action game. The main reason that this caught my eye was just the aesthetic. It had a really cool kind of black and white aesthetic with the character running around and platforming, or moving around and platforming. So that was just one of the, I think every Nintendo indie showcase has like a really cool aesthetic game, and that was that one for me this time. That was a lot of words. Moving right along, we had Mini Motorways, which I thought looked like a really fun game. It was a traffic puzzle game. So you're trying to like figure out, what's causing the traffic jams, and then you're trying to build roads around that so that people don't get traffic jammed. As someone who has sat in a lot of traffic in my life, as an LA native, I could definitely get behind proving that I'm better than the civic engineers of Los Angeles County. So it's just a game that I thought looked really fun, and I could see myself losing a couple hours in. And last but not least, saw one called Wayward Strand. This was a really cool narrative game that I just thought looked really cool. You play as this kid running around in a nursing home, and the game is just kind of going on, and then you just, wherever you want to insert yourself into the nursing home narrative, you can kind of either be a fly on the wall and listen in on conversations, or you can directly put yourself in the middle of the story. And you kind of keep track of your interactions with these people in the nursing home in your journal, and you can kind of see how their story develops over time. So I thought it was a really cool narrative and really kind of compelling as just kind of like, how do you want to interact with these people? I assume it's going to talk about kind of death and dying, so it's probably going to have a really deep story there. So something that you might catch feels with. So if you're looking for a kind of a good narrative feeling game, I thought Wayward Strand caught my eye. So if there's any other Nintendo games that you saw at the Indie Showcase that you thought looked cool, feel free to leave a comment down below. Launching today, in fact, today, Friday the 13th, in fact, Evil Dead, the game, is an asymmetrical horror game that launched. No current Metacritic, but I'm always down to play an asymmetrical horror game with friends. Asymmetrical horror games like Dead by Daylight, where I assume some people are going to play the demons and deadites, and then some people are going to play as Ash Williams and his friends. So I'm always down for those type of games. Also, something like Friday the 13th, where one player plays Jason, a bunch of other players play camp kids. So I can definitely see this kind of happening in an Evil Dead world, and I really like the Evil Dead universe as probably one of the biggest fans of the Evil Dead musical there is. I just like Evil Dead, so I'm excited to play that potentially with some friends. Also, another game that we're considering for a friend zone this month. Evil Dead, the game is out. It was delayed from February, I think, or March of this year, so it got delayed a couple of weeks. Hopefully, that meant there was a little bit of polish and a little bit of netcode issues. I assume a lot of these asymmetrical games don't always have launch with dedicated servers. So hopefully that 8 weeks allowed them to kind of develop this and get it to a point that they feel satisfied with. So I also read something about a Buffy cameo or a Buffy DLC pack. That could be definitely interesting. They could definitely do a lot of I know that Dead by Daylight's got a lot of really good like horror games in there, but if you want to get like the campy horror stuff from like the 80s and 90s, this would definitely be kind of an outlet for that. So things like Buffy the Vampire Slayer could definitely fit into this kind of campy, asymmetrical horror game. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with that and potentially playing Evil Dead sometime soon. There was another game that caught my eye, or it slipped through the cracks a couple weeks ago, but then caught my eye a week later. I'm not sure if I brought it up, so I kind of want to cast a spotlight on it this week. Disney Dreamlight Valley is a free-to-play life sim game. So life sim like Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley, where you're just kind of living in the world and doing various chores to kind of tidy up the world. So this is a free-to-play game. It's going to be on like every major platform. Even I don't remember if it was going to be on mobile or not, but it's going to be on every major platform. And it's just Disney's version of Animal Crossing, which people are already having Animal Crossing sold gangbusters back in 2020. So I can definitely see Disney's take on it, especially with it free to play. I bet it's going to get a lot of downloads. I'm curious how they're going to monetize because Disney's not doing anything for free, but I think this definitely has the potential to kind of be a big tentpole title that happens that comes out. So so this kind of caught my eye. I didn't even realize that this was coming out. My wife actually said like, hey, what's up with this Disney game? And I had no idea about it. So I'm talking to you now about it. Let me know what you think. Would you live in a Animal Crossing island but with Disney characters? Let me know who you hope to have who you hope will be in the game down below. We got more information about the Dead Space remake in a recent development stream that they've been releasing probably once every 1 to 2 months. They confirmed the release date, so Dead Space Remake isn't coming in 2022, but you won't have to wait much past the year because it is launching on January 27th, 2023. So they also talked about kind of the narrative and the horror elements involved with the Dead Space Remake, but we just it'll be one of those kind of early games. I know that I'm always the one talking about kind of the first releases of the year. And so I think this is going to be one of those big splashes that we see in early 2023, especially in the kind of January timeframe. A lot of the Resident Evil games have come out, or at least Resident Evil 7 came out in early January. A couple of the remakes also came out in January. So for some reason, horror in January is not unheard of. So interesting to see what they're going to do with the Dead Space remake. And as someone who hasn't played the original Dead Space games, that wasn't what I was playing at the time. So I am actually kind of excited to see what they do with the Dead Space remake and play it, in the high definition that I want to. So looking forward to playing that come January. In big Microsoft and more particularly Bethesda news, both of the games that we were expecting this year from Bethesda have been pushed into 2023. Starfield, which I'm pretty sure surprised no one, has been pushed to 2023. They've had the launch date of 11/11/22 for like 16 months now. So anytime a developer puts out a launch date like 16 months in advance, I doubt that so hard. So not surprised there. Redfall, which is their vampire shooting game, a vampire like shooting RPG game that was coming out I think summer or fall of this year. It was announced last year during the E3 timeframe. has been pushed also to 2023, which kind of leaves me left with what's Bethesda got going for them this year, which it doesn't sound like there's much. So hopefully they're taking some of that Microsoft money and taking some development time so that we don't get another buggy launch like we got with Fallout 76. But yeah, otherwise, yeah, I really don't know what's coming out for Bethesda this year. I assume I'm going to hear about it because I think they're going to be at E3 and Microsoft Showcase this year. So I'll hear about it, but yeah, don't know what's going to actually fall within 2022. EA is finally back to making Lord of the Rings games. They got the IP and they're going to be working on a mobile game. It's the same studio making this game that made Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, so it's a collectible RPG. I'm not quite sure what to think of a collectible RPG with the Lord of the Rings IP. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Lord of the Rings IP, but just kind of interesting to like randomly get Lord of the Rings characters and then like have them just be like fighting orcs or goblins or whatever. Like I feel like there's gonna be a weird clash there as I thought about the game more, but I like the Lord of the Rings IP and I'm excited for Rings of Power. But yeah, it would be interesting to see what this studio does with the RPG, given what they do with Lord of the Rings, given that what they did with Star Wars. Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes was a phenomenal mobile game. It's probably on several top charts, but wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, but definitely something that did well. So I'm hoping for the best because I want to see the Lord of the Rings do well. But EA Mobile doesn't inspire too much, or at least doesn't make very many things that I enjoy. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with the Lord of the Rings IP. Moving right along, we got a little bit more information about Alan Wake, or at least particularly on the sequel. Remedy has said that there will be no info coming out this summer, but that is not of any concern. The game is still on track for whenever it's supposed to be releasing. I assume, I don't remember what they said. Did they say 23 or 24 when they talked about it last year? I don't remember, but or if they were even ambiguous about that. But they said, "Don't worry, just because you won't see it this summer does not mean we are not on track." So, looking forward to Alan Wake 2 whenever we get that. Also, that was, if I remember correctly, that was going to be their foray into survival horror. So, like, they're changing up genres. They're changing up, they're changing up builds and what systems they're working in. So I'm just excited for Alan Wake 2 whenever I get it. Speaking of games that will be coming out, Ubisoft has announced their slate. So in a recent earnings call, they announced what games will be coming out. They do this typically around this time every year. They announced which games will be coming out between April of 2022 and March of 2023, the fiscal calendar. They announced that Mario plus Rabbids 2, Spark of Hope, will be coming out. I assume the same kind of August launch timeframe that we got the first Mario plus Rabbids game. The Avatar game, I don't know that it'll be tied to the movie at all. Usually studios want to keep those two things separate, like video games and movies. So I don't know that it'll be released at the same time. So I expect those to be kind of different, but I don't know if this is their Q4 title since they don't have an Assassin's Creed this year. And then they confirmed that Skull and Bones is coming out. We haven't seen this in like 6 years, so I'm really surprised that I feel like they've had slow conversations. They've slowly been leaking out like, hey, we're having conversations about Skull and Bones and we're still developing it and all that kind of stuff. So there's been a slow trickle of information, but to kind of say that it's coming out in the next several months, I'm just looking forward to the Ubisoft Forward where they actually give us hard dates for this. Again, probably in the June-July timeframe. So, yeah, looking forward to that. And then moving on to two smaller games that launched this week. Salt and Sacrifice is like a 2D Souls-like. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago. That people really liked the original Salt and Sanctuary. Definitely gave you those Dark Soul feels that you were looking for, but like in a 2D game. So it's got all the recursive elements that you know and love, and you got to collect salt, I guess, to level up. I didn't play the first one, but I watched gameplay of like roommates at the time, and it looked really fun. The game's got a 73 Metacritic, so it's reviewing pretty well. And I think, you know, if you're a big fan of the Souls-like, if you're getting through Elden Ring and finally finishing that up, and still have this Dark Souls itch, Salt and Sacrifice might be definitely up your alley. So feel free to check that out. And last but certainly not least, I cannot say enough good things about the We Were Here series. Me and my wife have played through all of the previous games and enjoyed the crap out of them. It's a co-op, 2-player escape room kind of thing where you're always trapped in a castle and you have to move from escape room to escape room and try and figure out how these two things relate. And one person could be in the overseer spot trying to give puzzle clues to the one player, and then they'll switch roles in between rooms, and it's always got a really cool aesthetic. I really like these games, and We Were Here launched this week, or We Were Here Forever launched this week. So looking forward to playing that with my wife, because we played all the other ones and really enjoyed them on stream, in fact. So if you want to check those out on my YouTube, you can see all three of the gameplay that we've done for those games. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to We Were Here Forever. It launched it launched this week. It's currently at a 76 Metacritic. So if you're looking for an escape room to play with a significant other or a friend, feel free to pick that up, and I highly recommend those games. I really like them. Really cool puzzle games. They're getting progressively longer. I believe the first game was like 2 to 3 hours. The second one was like 3 to 4, and that third one was like 6 hours or so. And I think this one was kind of expected to be like an 8-hour experience. So this might even be broken up into 2 separate sessions, or one 8-hour power session. But like I said, can't say enough good things about the We Were Here series. I really like them, and they always have really good vibes, they were really spooky, but like really good puzzles. And really looking forward to playing that. That's it for this week. If there's anything you feel I missed, feel free to leave a comment down below. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!